Hello again. We're continuing the build with the Subaru 2009 Impreza WRX rally car. We're turning it into a stage rally car. So just covering the bits and pieces that I'm doing, little fiddly bits and pieces, but basically here we go. Hello again. I'm in the elements, the outside. It's a very nice day today. Sun's out. I'm looking at the turbo as I need to get a restrictor fitted to the inlet, which I believe goes on here somewhere. So I'm trying to think of the best way of doing this. It's got to be within 50mm of the turbine blades, and I'm guessing the turbine blades are in there. So I need to clear some of this out of the way. I don't really want to take the inlet manifold off. I'm thinking I don't think that will come out. I think what I'll do is I'll Google it and see what Google says. Yeah, the internet said to remove this, take that off, drain the water out, undo the up pipe. I'm not sure what it's called, an up pipe. And then there's various pipes all over it, which you disconnect, and then you can take it off, which seems quite involved. I haven't got much time today, it's getting late, it's 3:30. I don't want to leave it with bits off it. I'm away to the UK on Thursday, so I think I'm not going to touch it until I get back. So I've got more time to work on it. So let's get inside, do some work in there. Right, this is the lower dash panel, which has got the groove for this to sit in. I'm not interested about this. That's not going to make any difference. I mean, it's handy to have, but I'm not bothered if it gets just tucked up under the dash. This is important, traction control, because I'm going to have to take that off. I think you only need that if you lose a key, so I can hide that away. But that will probably clip onto here, I think. So I'm not sure if that will still fit on with the dash that's been on. I have to cut a bit of it off. Let's see if I can get that on. And then I've got this bit for the windows, which will be handy to have. If I can cable tie it there and make sure it's out the way of the roll cage, then that'll be good. Same with the back ones, and there's one on that door just there. Let's get sorted out. I need to do the earth bleed for the ignition isolator. The ignition switch is connected through that. It does actually stop the engine from running. Right, let's have a go at this. Right, I did actually give it a wipe. I wouldn't say clean, I just gave it a wipe because it was very dusty. Right, I'm not sure what this does here. It's got a pipe and a sensor on it, so I'll stick that back on there. We've got this should fit. I just need to take the corner off it. The traction control will still go on. This actually fits on now. Now I've cut bits off the side. I'll put it on and you can see more. I'm just piecing it all back together again inside. I've got the old hot melt glue gun on so I can get the pieces like that in. I've just found this bit, which I cut off from that side, and noticed it says airbag. I thought it was strange not having a passenger airbag, so there must be another airbag in there. So I'll have to get underneath and have a look. I think I'll disconnect the battery first, leave it overnight and have a look tomorrow. Well, that was a bit of a nightmare. We've had the Dremel angle grinder prying it out. We've got it out eventually. That's some weight in that as well. It's a big beast. That one. So, and I didn't even know there was one in there. Just goes to show how careful you've got to be when you're stripping cars. So we've got quite a space up there now. Let me see if I can start piecing the dash back together again. Right, I've secured the cover in place. I've connected earths up the isolator. So there's an earth that goes from this part of the chassis through the seat rail up under the carpet through the hole in the back, and it goes to one pole of the isolator. And the other side, it goes through the bulkhead to a grommet, which you'll see the other side, and then that goes to the original earth. Right, just tidying up a few pieces in the car. Cable side the switch for the electric windows to the door, and the same here. And the backs, I've done those. We've gone weight reduction as well. I've taken the rear speakers out because it didn't work. I've left the front ones in though. And I do seem to think it's got a CD changer in it because I can hear lots of noises. The airbag's out. What a nightmare that was. I think you should really take the dash out to get the airbag out, but I managed to pull all the front out. This vent doesn't quite line up because the cage is in the way. I've glued back these bits in the other vent. Well, the other vent's still working. I mean, that one will work, but it's not quite where it was. Same as that. I can't cut the side out because the air will just come out of it. And I've just glued the bits in. That's the traction control, which is quite an important one to have. I presume I'll have to turn that off every time I use it. The isolator. So the isolator goes from the ignition switch to here and then back to the ignition switch. So that will kill the ignition, but you've got to isolate the battery as well. So what I've done is I've done an earth from the battery through to the isolator switch on the big poles here, and then back from the other side, it goes under the carpet and it goes to the seat rail into the chassis. And on the engine side of it, in the engine bay, the one that originally went to the battery now goes to an earthing point on the body. So it goes from the battery to here, from here to the body, from the body in the engine bay to run everything. So I'm just going to try it now. Yeah, when I first put the power on, it started making funny noises. But I presume every time, oh yeah, I've got a tiny little cut. So I put a glove on to stop it bleeding everywhere. Yeah, just made a mess inside the glove. Alright, I presume the fan's on. Just make the noise. So what I'm going to do, I know it's going to turn. Well, I know there's plenty of earth enough to drag the car forward. Right, these are the fuel tank covers that I've just taken off the underside of the fuel tank. To make a stage rally car, it says you need a substantial covering over the fuel tank. I don't know what the definition of substantial is. Probably 2 mil plastic probably isn't going to be up to it. So what I might do is bond some steel onto it. That might be the easiest way of making it substantial. So it's plastic and the steel. I only have to do the flat area here. I don't have to go up the sides. It's got the exhaust that runs down the middle, and it's got an exhaust heat shield, which would be classed as substantial. So that's going to end up a lot easier than I thought it was. I can't rivet anything on because if I put a rivet through here and it's close to the tank, it might end up puncturing the tank, which would be the opposite to what its job is. So I think I might just bond. I might put the steel on it and fiberglass over it, which I think, I mean, people use carbon fibre. You could put carbon fibre over it, but that's a bit dangerous to use carbon fibre. I'm not too keen on using that. But this is going to be much easier than I thought it was. I thought I was going to have to make one from scratch. So yeah, this is definitely a blessing. Right, the other issue I've just jacked it up to check that the 15-inch wheels fit over the brakes, which they do, that's great. But these are the new nuts I bought, because I had to cut the original ones off. But MSA also state that the bolt needs to cover 1.5 times the diameter of the thread. So that thread's 12 mil. So 1.5, 12 and 6, 18 mil. So 18 mil of the thread needs to be covered by this bolt, whereas this is covering about 13. And that's how the standard ones are as well. So it's a bit strange that a standard car from the factory is not compliant. Anyway, I've ordered longer studs, but they're a right pain to change. You have to take all the hubs off. I can't remember which ones are worse, the back or the front. So I'm going to double check on that, because surely if you've got standard bolts, they should be compliant. Anyway, that's what MS UK are for. I'll give them a call, find out. Mud flaps, I need to get them sorted. Oh, I've just taken the mud flaps off, got the mud out from behind them. I've got the new ones, but they have to be 80mm off the floor, and I don't want to put them on with these wheels and tyres because the dirt tyres might be bigger. Even though they're 15-inch and these are 17s, the tyre profile is going to be much bigger on the 15-inch. So I'll see if I can borrow one and get the mud flaps cut then and fitted. Right, that's then done with the bolts on the front edge and just ground down. So tomorrow I'll bolt them back up, take the screws out, bolt them back up. Right, I'll try the video again. I'll keep an eye on the time and make sure it's still recording. That's the plumbed in system. It's double usage. I think that'll do as a footrest. I might have to put something over it because once it's got the sticker on, I don't want that to get rubbed off. I've got nozzles to go. I need 2 inside, so I'll probably put them maybe one up here or here. They don't point directly at you, but they point at your legs. So I need to bring the pipe from the end of the nozzle up behind the dash, feed that nozzle, tee off, feed the other nozzle, and then tee off again and go through the bulkhead. I can go where the main earth lead went through from the isolator. I'll squeeze it through there, and also I've got 2 cables to go through there as well, so I might as well do those, and then I can get the engine bay done. So we're getting there. If we've got the tank guard on, if we get the extinguishers in, mud flaps. I don't do mud flaps until I've got the wheels. I'm picking up some 15-inch wheels tomorrow, and I'll put the tyres on. Then I can put them on and make sure I cut them. They got the mud guards got 40mm past the tread. Well, hopefully this will work. I'm actually inside the car now. This is what I did yesterday. I did a little video of it, but yeah, some reason it keeps cutting out. I've bolted the extinguisher to the steel plate underneath it, and it's got 4 M6 bolts because you're not allowed to rivet it. Yeah, I think I talked about this before, didn't I, as a footrest, but I'll have to put like a mud flap or something over it. I don't think she'll get her foot down there. I might put something over it just to make sure she doesn't. I've put the pull cable in for the extinguisher, the internal one. I've got it through the dash and it goes into a coil there. It's massive. I'll have to cut that down. I don't want to cut anything until I've got everything in place. Connecting up's not a problem. It's getting it through, feeding it through the dash and all that. So we've got 1 nozzle there, and I was going to do the same on this side. I've got to put on those nozzles so it just sort of points down. All the instructions say if you've got a turbo car, you have 2 inside the cockpit and 4 in the engine bay. It doesn't say where. If the car's normally aspirated, it said it should have 3 in the car and 3 in the engine bay, but it says should, it doesn't mean it has to. Let me just double check on it. So I need to get a pipe from that side to this side, and then the T-junction to get it to follow the earth lead through the bulkhead. Right, let me just have a look at the instructions and see. Nozzles and pipes. All 6 nozzles must be used. It's recommended a vehicle with a turbocharger. 4 nozzles are fitted to the engine bay, 2 to the inlet system and 2 on the turbocharger, plus 2 in the cockpit. Or normally aspirated engines, 3 in the cockpit and 3 in the engine bay. That is purely for this type of extinguisher. What we're told the scrutineers to check is to make sure it's fitted as per the instructions. So this one will have, I'll put 4 in the engine bay because I've got a turbo, but it is said it is recommended. So recommended means should, could, it doesn't mean it has to be. But I'm going to do as it says, as it recommends, because they know what they're talking about. I've been using a stepper drill to drill the holes to get the bits through, but it's all right on the thin stuff. But I've got to drill a hole through here for the cable to come up, to go through the ignition cut-off, and that has to go outside. But I want to use a normal drill bit for that because it's quite thick. I want to take this out actually first and make sure there's nothing underneath it. So I know there are some cables running under there. So that will just go down under the carpet, come up, go through the bulkhead. Well, it'll come the other way. It'll come through the bulkhead, through that way. And put them in the engine bay should be pretty straightforward. I brought a pipe cutter. You have to cut them with one of those and then deburr them. So that should be the extinguisher done. The handheld's just a case of bolting it to the floor. I might put that under the driver's seat. Not a million miles away. What I'm doing is picking up the 15-inch wheels tomorrow, so I can put them, I can get my, well, I'll double check they fit, because the one I tried fitted, but I'll double check the 15-inch ones that I'm getting fit, and then get the tyres fitted to them, so I can put them on and get the mud flaps sorted out. But we're getting there. I feel like we're making progress. I don't know how good this is going to show up, but I'm under the car. I've got the tank guard on, so I had to drill another hole here to get to one of the fixings. I might get a better view if I get out from under the car and stick the camera under. But yeah, I think that should cover it. I took all the screws out, so the CT1 was bonding it now, holding it all together. Yeah, you can probably see better there. So it's actually covering the tank. The covers go beyond the tank, but that's where the tank is, where it's got the protection. So I think that will be compliant. A lot easier to do than I thought it would be. Another thing I need to fit is the fuel sampling valve, which comes with this take-off valve. The idea is this goes in a fuel pipe and just stays like that. And if you need to do a fuel sample, you just plug this in and the fuel comes out the other end. It saves undoing one of these and spurting high pressure fuel everywhere. So I think I'll just cut here, put it in, Jubilee clip it. I'm sure I'll get a bit of fuel spurt out as I cut it. Right, let's go and find some Jubilee clips. Well, they're fuel hose clips. I'm sure I've got some. That's it fitted out to get some a mug of hot water, just to get the rubber a bit more pliable. It was quite a tight fit to get it in there. Right, so that'll probably never ever be used, especially in Jersey. I've never heard of a fuel sampling over here. I think it's just been raining, so at the moment it's dry. I think I might get the extinguisher nozzles in. So I need 2 on the turbo and 2 on the inlet. Right, I've just knocked up some little metal brackets just for the nozzles on the extinguisher. So that way I can bolt them on, tighten them up, and I can put a couple of fixings, rivets, self tappers, drill a hole, bolt it to something. And that's mechanically fixed then. You see a lot with cable ties holding in place, which isn't You're not supposed to do that because it's got to be fireproof. If there's a fire and the cable tie melts, then these start spraying all over the place. So this way, it's not going to move, it's not going to go anywhere, it's belt and braces that. That's the nozzles on their new brackets. So there's 2 on the turbo, 2 on the inlet. I mean, I could have put 1 here, but 3 one side. These do spread. They spray at 45 degrees, so they'll cover all the engine bay anyway. And I've had to take it through where the earth cable came through. So I'll put some more sealant on that, just to make sure it's got a good seal on it. Yeah, into the inside of the car now. I still need to get to the turbo restrictor. But I'll do the inside, get the nozzles finished off first. Right, racing for the jobs at the moment. That's the extinguisher in as far as I can go because it's got to come out to get to the ECU for the remap. And talking of remaps, I've been told to get a Roger Clark fuel pump. So I'm going to fit that now, take this cover off and dig it out. Right, I've learned that the fuel pump's not that side, that's the sender. It's just that the 2 fuel pipes come out that way, but they don't actually go into the bit that comes off. So let's get this one off. Yeah, it looks like there's been some mouse or something in there. Better hoover that out and get all the dust off it before I take the top off. That's much bigger than the other side. At least these fuel things come off easy enough. You just squeeze these bits together and push them and they pop off. But the one on that side, loads of fuel came out. But I've put the dry brake coupling. I haven't turned the ignition on since then, so hopefully there's no pressure on the outlet side of the pump. Let's have a get a bit more. Let's get that cleaned up. That's it out. I thought the tank was almost empty. But there's 2 parts to the tank. There's another side over there, so maybe that one's empty and this is the fuel gets pumped into this one. Because there's 2 senders. If it's like the BMW, that's a pump housing, and it's like a swell pot. So that's why I've got most of the fuel out of it. But yeah, I'm just gonna get what I can out before I take it apart and get rid of all the fuel that comes out of it, because it's just going to stink otherwise, go everywhere. Right, that's the actual pump out. It's just got these little hooks, so you have to get a screwdriver in through these little windows, pull them apart, and then it just pulls out. I've seen other people stripping that right down, but there's no need. Right, I'm just going to compare this to the new pump. Hopefully it's just a case of push it in, put it back together again, because I don't want to leave it with the that open. Right, that's it all back together again. It's just starting to rain, so it's getting dark as well outside. So that's I put the Roger Clark Motorsport sticker on it and I dated it. There's another sticker you put on the actual fuel pump. When you lift this lid, you'll see it and the date that it was installed. Right, just got to turn the ignition on and make sure that the dry brake coupling doesn't leak in the engine bay. Make sure the fuel pump works. All good. Right, so extinguisher's in, nozzles are in. Well, the extinguisher isn't actually plumbed in because I've got to take it out to get to the ECU for the remap. The fuel pump's in because it's going to need the fuel pump for the remap, apparently. Mud flaps I can't do until I get the find out what size wheels and tyres I'm getting. I went to get a set of 15-inch wheels from a guy. I've been backwards and forwards trying to get them, but turned out they were 16-inch, so they're no good. 15-inch tyres won't fit. There's another guy having a look. He's bought my old car actually years ago, my old Subaru, so he had loads of wheels and tyres, so I presume he brought loads of spare cars, so hopefully he's got some 15-inch and I can put my tyres on them then. Tank guard's done. Restrictor, I need the restrictor. That'll be my next job. Get that done, so I need it dry and probably a full day on that. It might not be that difficult to do. Apparently that just slots in and you have to drill a couple of holes and hold it in place. Right, these are 16-inch wheels. And the reason I'm trying these out is from the other car. I've got some 16-inch tyres that have been cut into like an intermediate. So I've got 6 of those. I've only got 4 Subaru wheels. So the idea was to try them on the car, make sure they fit. They're definitely not going to stay that colour. So yeah, I think they're good. I think they're the tyres. They're not the right tyres. They're not dirt tyres. They're tarmac tyres. But I've only got dirt tyres and 15s. And I can't get 15-inch wheels. So I'll get those. I'll pick up the rest of these. Paint them silver or something, not green, and then get the tyres stuck on. But also, I've got the steering arm to replace, so I'll get on with that. Yeah, these are the wheel nuts I bought, which are the same as the original Subaru ones, apart from the Subaru ones are chrome and got domed heads on them. But when you look how little thread that's getting covered, it's got to be 18mm, and these are 13mm. But I spoke to MS UK and they said that's fine if that's how it came standard, but I'm not that happy with them. So I bought these. So even though these are okay, I want to see how easy it is to change them over, because I'll be much happier with a bit more thread on them. Yeah, this is why I'm changing it. Just well gone that. So I did hear a rattle. I thought it was a drop link, but they were right. It looks like it has the xenon headlights as well, all pushed off. I don't know how that will last around the quarry. Right, I've loosened that one. It's got normal thread on it. So the idea is I'm going to leave it tight against here. When I put the new one on, I'll go up to that nut, and then hopefully the tracker won't be too far out, but I will still get it set up. That's that swapped over. I did clean up all the threads around here, so if I have to adjust it, should be quite easy to do. I'll check the other side to see if I need to replace it. I mean, it didn't take long to replace, so that's a lifesaver. That just put it over the joint, wind the top down. There was a huge bang and that just popped off. I'm not into hitting that with a hammer. Right, next job. Yeah, they've got a bit of life left in them, but not a great deal. There's some weight in them calipers. Right, so these studs, I'm feeling I might be able to knock them through and get them out without taking the hub off, and I might be able to get these in. You can see the difference in size. Oops. So yeah, there'll be plenty of threads covered there. I'll give that a go. It might be the rear ones that are an issue, but whilst I'm here I might as well swap them over. Right, that's banged through perfectly with a knob hammer. Let's see if I can get the longer one in now. Yeah, to pull the studs through, I'm just putting a couple of washers on. I've had to cut the end off one of the dome head bolts. That's a bit flat because that's the one I have to give them a good whack to knock them out. Just tighten this up and it pulls them back in again. I've pulled the under shield off from under the car and drained the oil. Did spill quite a bit. I've put a new filter on it. I've put the sump plug back in. I've used the old washer. I turned it upside down, put it on, because normally you get them with the oil filter, but this one didn't. So it's a Bosch oil filter. I ordered a Subaru one, it's on its way, but it's not here and I need one now. Yeah, there's the old one. No idea how old that is. The guy I bought it off, I said, has it got any service history? And he said, I've serviced it all myself. So, whatever he did, I think it was a long time ago. I wish he'd just told me and I would have serviced it, but he also told me to put a cam belt on, so I think I better put a cam belt on it. So I don't really want to use it until I put the belt on it. I'll put the oil in. I've got, I think it's liquid moly, high performance 1040. The consensus was 1040 or 540 oil for this type of engine. Yeah, so that's that. What I spilt and what was in the filter. That's 2, 3, 3.5, 4 litres. Probably not enough to run it, but I'm glad it hasn't been on a track day or had any stick or anything. So I'll put some clean stuff in, and I think once that's done, I'm going to take the rad out because I'm going to have to get to the cam belt. So I'll start taking bits off. And I do have a confession to make, because when I first got it, I dipped the oil thinking that was the oil dipstick, and it was beautiful and clean. And I thought, he has just serviced it. Yeah, that's on the lower level, but it is clean. So I thought, right, that's why it's on low, because it's at an angle. It wasn't until I dipped that one that I saw how dirty it was, and it was slightly low. So yeah, I should have, if I'd done that when I first got it, I would have changed it straight away. Mind you, I've probably done 200 miles in this since I've had it. That's the oil level filled up, just above the high. What I did was went to the high level, and then I fired it up. I was expecting the oil light to stay on for a bit longer than it did. It went out straight away. But when I checked it had gone down quite a bit, the level, so I topped it up. I've put the full 5 litres in there. So I will give it a run and then check it again, make sure it's still okay. That looks a bit better. I'm a bit happier with that. There's plenty of cover in the bolts. That should keep everyone happy. And if I need to put a 5mm spacer in, that's not going to be a problem. Not that well, because the other wheels seem to clear quite well as well. Just drain the water down so I can take the radiator out. Bleed screw at the drain screw at the bottom, which is that one, and took the cap off just to get some air in so it can flow down, and take a few pipes off and pull it out. Oh, that's rad out. I had a problem getting this belt off for the power steering, no, the air conditioning, because there's no adjustment on it. You can't tension it, so it's a stretch to fit belt. So you have to sort of push it over a rib at a time and rotate it with rotate the crank. And then I started pushing it over this one, and it just popped off in the end. But I'm going to get a new one of those. So I'm running out of time now. It's 5 o'clock. Date night tonight, so I'm going to leave it like this. I don't want to open anything up yet. But then next job will be to take the intercooler off. Then that should give me a bit more room to see what's going on down here as well. So I've got a cam belt. I'll put a cam belt on. I'm not bothering the water pump and all that. Swap the cam belt over just for peace of mind. Yeah, and the restrictor. That's a big one I've got to do. It's quite an important one. So it's ready for mapping. So I think I'll wrap it up there and I'll be back on it at the weekend, so more to come hopefully, and it's got to be done soon, so hopefully it'll be finished before long.